Let's try that again. Hey there, Internet. I'm Chris Dupuy, the Live Services Manager of Idle Champions. I'm streaming to you straight from Victoria, British Columbia, where there is a lovely day going on right now. We're running with a skeleton crew here because I kid you not, like half of our studio is at PAX West right now, trying to assemble what can only be described as one of our most massive convention undertakings yet. We're going to talk about that later, though. But for now, we're here to talk about Idle Champions. It's been a while since I've been on the stream, so hey, everybody, good to see you again. Sorry for our late cancellation last week. We were heads down on a ton of different projects, one of them being the PAX West thing, and we had to cancel late last week. But we've got a little bit of fun for you today, so hopefully that'll make up for missing us last week. Let's get into this. Spoilers. One, I don't do this that often. Two, I'm super rusty. Three, I'm really rusty. And four, there's going to be some things happening. I don't know. Let's figure this out. All right. So back to the game. Let me bring that up. Hey, there's a notification. So hey, welcome back. It's the second anniversary of Idle Champions. We've got an anniversary going on. We got a lot of fun stuff to talk about today. Definitely want to get your questions because we didn't have a Q&A this week. We didn't have a live stream last week. So flood the chat with questions. We've got, as always, Erica moderating and clearing those questions out and getting them over to me. So we're gonna just play it by ear and see how this goes. So let's see. News. It is the anniversary celebration. There is a new late game system introduced for veteran players called the Patron System that we'll be getting into. We've got a whole bunch of new DLC. As you can see, I've got a bunch of the new familiars up, helping me out. I just love the cats in their hand batting. We've got the new system. We've got DLC. We just finished our charity drive for Vizier the Stellars J. Thank you so much to everyone who spread the word, who passed it around, who picked up the Stellars J. Even if you couldn't pick up the Stellars J, thanks for checking it out. Thanks for jumping into the game and having some fun with us. The Stellars J. We put the numbers together. We've gotten just over $12,000 for the Take This charity, which blows away last year's total of just over $11,000 for the Stinky promotion. And that $12,000 is going to go straight to the Take This charity and straight to funding mental health awareness and the AFK rooms at PAX. So for those of you that are going to PAX, if you are at all overwhelmed by PAX, if there's just too many people, if there's too much noise, if you just need to reboot, I highly recommend before you go figuring out where the AFK room is. And I apologize that I don't have that at this moment. Hopefully Erica's listening and she can do some internet sleuthing and some Googling to figure out where the AFK room is at PAX West this year. But I cannot recommend it enough. I was exhibiting at PAX South last year, and anyone who has exhibited at a convention knows that it is just constantly being on and being busy the whole time, meeting all the fans. It is a huge, great experience, but it's also very taxing, at least for me. So whenever I had a break, I always wanted to kind of just be quiet and rest and kind of get that energy back. And I found a couple of corners, but then I found where the AFK room was, and I went in there, and there was just a ton of room. It was perfectly quiet. There was a ton of people in there, but everyone was speaking quietly. There were coloring pages. There were bean bags. It was just the mellowest room you could find, and it was exactly what I needed. So the AFK room definitely helped me at PAX South. It has probably helped hundreds, if not thousands, of visitors at PAX so far. And that $12,000 that we raised for Vizier the Stellars Day, that's going to go for that's going to help us to continue to sponsor the AFK room at PAX's. So we're super excited to partner with Take This, and we're super excited that our Idle Champions players and fans helped us beat our goal from last year. So thank you so much. For those of you that are going to PAX this weekend, I definitely recommend checking it out. What else do we have? Well, let's talk a little bit about PAX West. The crew is out there right now. They all left yesterday. A few select people got to go out on a cool float plane. Some that were less likely had to take a budget rental van over the border. And from our reports last night, they got delayed by about 2 hours because of a weight issue. Apparently, when you build a gigantic gelatinous cube, that's a heavy thing. Spoilers, we've built a gigantic gelatinous cube at our booth at PAX West, and I'm not even kidding. It 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 came around so quickly, our presence at PAX, and Dylan, who has done this a bunch of times and is just the expert at putting these sort of conventions together, started brainstorming and trying to figure out what we were going to do. What was our hook going to be? This is our first time at a convention at a booth by ourselves. You know, we found that the signings and connecting players and fans with content creators and authors and artists that we work with has been a real driver for traffic at conventions. So we wanted to kind of kick it up to 11 and create a destination location at PAX. So yeah, we've built a gelatinous cube, and at the end of the stream, I'm going to show it to you, and it's awesome. So we have signings at our booth every single day. Tomorrow we've got High Rollers. We've got Aaron M. Evans, author of the Brimstone Angel novel series. We've got Scott Kurtz, Binwin Bronzebottom himself. On Saturday, we've got the C Team with Anna Prosser. We've got Aaron again. We've got High Rollers again. And then on Sunday, we've got Anna Prosser on her own from 12 to 1. We've got Violet Distracted Elf Miller, the creator of Ishii. They're going to be at our booth from 1 to 2. And we've got High Rollers again and Scott Kurtz again. So we're gonna, if you come out to one of the earlier signings and there's a big line, you want to come back, there's alternate times that you can come to hang out, to walk through the gelatinous cube. Nailed it. And just come and meet the team. We've got two of our great artists out there. We've got Adam and Alexis. We've got Dylan. We've got Dexter, our new operations manager. We've got Jacob, one of our software engineers. We've got Erica will be out there too. Eric, not Erica, as I slur my names. Eric will be out there, and I feel like I'm missing someone, and I'm going to feel like a horrible person when I figure out who it is. Yeah, we've got the whole crew out there. It's going to be a great experience. We've got coloring pages, we've got signings, we've got caricatures. That's right. I don't actually have the caricature schedule right now, but maybe Erica can find that for me too. We've got caricatures, and those have been a hot item at previous PAXs. In fact, if anyone's listening, can you get my caricature that's taped up next to my desk, you know, on the breaker box? That'd be awesome, because then I can show you guys what kind of awesome stuff you can get for coming to the booth. But in addition to that, we've got a PAX exclusive item. If you come by the booth, you can get a postcard that will give you a free skin of Mr. Jim Darkmagic in his Rockstar outfit. That's right. You may know Jim as... Yeah, bring it on in. Thank you, sir. So, hang on. Let me finish up with the Jim thing, then I'll go back to the caricature. So you may know Jim as Jim, but have you met Rockstar Jim? So you can get the Rockstar Jim skin at PAX West by coming by our booth and just saying, hey, I need me some of that Jim Rockstar magic. And so that is a PAX exclusive giveaway. I believe one of our giveaways during this hour during this stream is going to be for a Jim Rockstar skin. And for the next couple of weeks, we'll probably be giving those away on stream. So come back, get some Jim magic. And we'll have Jim Rockstar skins at future PAXs. Excuse me, as I run out of breath. We'll have Jim Rockstar skins at future PAXs, as well as finding out some other ways to get it out there. So for those of you that don't have the Dinar Yum Yum Hut skin from PAX Australia, we are planning on having that back out and available to players who weren't able to get it during PAX Australia last year. And the same will be said for the Jim Darkmagic skin. So exclusive for now, but we are going to have ways to get it out to feed people that can't make it to a PAX, because, not everyone has a PAX in their backyard. But getting back to those really cool caricatures. Hey, cool, it's still working. This is the stupid glare. This is the caricature that Alexis drew for me last year in my Ranger look. See? It's awesome. But you can come by and pick your class, and they'll sketch you up a cool caricature of you as a D&D character. So I definitely recommend it. Let's see. Okay, so covered that. I got a long list of stuff to cover. We're going to be here all day. If you haven't joined our Discord, please check it out, discord.gg/idlechampions. Great community there. We've got discussions about the updates, about spoilers, about combination chest codes, about formations, about fan art. This is the hub for the Idle Champions community, and if you haven't checked it out, I definitely recommend checking it out, because it's a great group of people that it's awesome to jump in there and just see people helping each other out and learning about the different systems and giving tips and tricks about the game, which is super duper cool. So yeah, let's break into some questions before we talk about anniversary and patron system. So Garwar asks, you have skeletons on the team? Yes, we have our full-on skeleton crew here. We actually brought one of the skeletons on the team out to PAX, and you'll find it hanging in the gelatinous cube. Garwar also asks, why no familiars for gems this time around? That's a great question. One, we didn't want to bring out new familiars for gems until we had revamped the familiar system. Initially, I wanted to have that with the release of the new familiars. However, as with everything, compromises need to be made. And pushing for both feats 3 weeks ago and the patron system and all the new DLC, and then the retirement sales and the rollout of the new DLC, there were just a lot of moving pieces. And I'm super happy with how the rollout went out, even with the little hiccup in the patron system last night. Luckily, the team came together to figure out how best to solve that problem last night and this morning. And hopefully, if you were having the problem with the patron system, all of your progress has been returned and you're good to go. And we do apologize for that hiccup, but as much as we don't like bugs, I can tell you from behind the scenes that everyone on the team has been working really hard over the past month to get to this point. So we had to take some things away. We couldn't do the familiar system update. We couldn't do a couple of the other extra bells and whistles that we wanted to. But I'm really happy with how things turned out, and I hope that you all are having a ton of fun checking out the new DLC, grabbing those birthday chests, getting that Mind Flayer hitch ready, and checking out the new patron system, which is super in-depth. It's a great late game system for veteran players. I know that I've been diving in and going through the old variants, and it's pretty fun. Pro tip, don't do RU Chicken for your first variant, because the patron variants have high levels to get to, and RU Chicken takes up 4 slots. So yeah, don't do that one first. Noah Simple asks, was the acquisitions event, Omen Challenges, a sort of preliminary stage patron system? It was not a preliminary stage patron system. However, it's become sort of the origin system of some of the patron reward systems. Some of the reward progressions, some of the challenges you'll see will mirror a lot of the C team challenges. Daily and weekly rewards are something we've wanted to get into the game for a while. Figuring out the right way. Like, we don't want to just throw up daily rewards. Like, here you go, there's 5 daily rewards. You can do 1 a day every week and stuff, and just kind of throw it out there. We wanted to do it right. So the C team challenges allowed us to test the system. What can we track? What can't we track? What works best? What are players doing more of? And that allowed us to get a good idea of what patron challenges would look like. So it wasn't a it wasn't a test run, but it was definitely the launching pad for Justin really diving headfirst into the Patron system. Let's see. Hellish Dream asks, considering you folks at C&E share a city with one of the internet's premier fart-based comedy groups, have y'all considered reaching out to Loading Ready Run for any champions? We love the Loading Ready Run guys, or folks, and we don't have anything specific to announce in regards to any Loading Ready Run champions. However, when you want to talk about farts, check this out. Oh, this is gonna be so good. This is like a little Easter egg for folks that know about flumps. So flumps are these creatures that float around, and they're normally good, but you can tell what their mood is based on their coloring. So if you see a blue one, it's sad. If you see a red one, it's angry. Stay away from that. If you see a green one, it's curious, hence the curious flump. Sorry, I'm trying to get to trying to get some ultimates on that ultimate bar. Come on, come on. All right, apparently we're gonna be slow today, so I'm gonna not waste that. Let's open a couple of silver chests. Blam! See all loot. Got some buffs, got some gold. There we go. That's better. Oh no, I have yours. I have yours, I have yours. Come on. Okay, so that's enough ultimates. So check this out. Ready? The flump, it moves around by farting. Look at it. Look at it. There you go. I'm sorry. That gets me every time. So nothing to announce on Loading Ready Run. However, for your fart-based comedy, I present to you the flump. Let's see. So when are we going to get a Ravnican champion? We need to get our goblin on. Nothing to announce on characters built around the Ravnica or Magic expansion for D&D. That's definitely something to think about, though. Let's see. Let's unbold this. All right. Question, do patron chests have a pity timer? That is a great question. It is such a new system, I do not know. Let's see if we can ask Mark or Peter to check on that. So thank you for this question, Escriens. I do not know if patron chests have a pity timer, but since we've got patron chest questions, let's talk about the patron system. The patron system. Look at this right over there, the little home plate with the P in it. The patron system is a brand new progression system for end game or late game players. You have to, I meant to not activate Mert so I could show you how you activate it. But each patron has a certain amount of currency that you need to spend in order to unlock them, whether that's gems, silver chests, time gate pieces, etc. And once you unlock them, as long as there's not any bugs, which there shouldn't be anymore, I think we fixed all those, you have unlocked the patron, and you can do variants and free plays for that patron, collecting influence with that patron and collecting currency with that patron. Patron's currency for Mert is a ruby coin, and patron currency for Vajra is the head of the black staff. And you can use that currency to purchase patron chests or items that you might need, like time gate pieces. Some items are limited, so you can only purchase X number per week, and some are not. So if you've ever been running through and you're like, oh man, I wish I had a potion of clairvoyance, you don't have any chests left, you can come in here and hopefully have enough symbols to purchase it. So let's see. And then patron challenges are going to be coming soon. But right now we've got two patrons. There's Vajra, the Blackstaff, and Mert the Moneylender. Each of them allows you to replay variants that you've previously played. However, it introduces a new set of restrictions. So it cuts off the number of champions you can use, creating new ways to play through the variants, new ways to look at formations. You know, what happens in a world where you don't have Evelyn or Nayeli? Like, you've got to lean on other tanks. What happens when you don't have Celeste? It has really intrigued me going through and playing with champions that I don't normally play with. You know, you've got your core set, you've maybe got 2 or 3 different formations that you've run in different areas, and you know what you use to get higher. But to come up with a 275 area adventure and not know all the champions you're going to have, it's pretty exciting. So I've been having a lot of fun running through patron variants and patron free plays. So we're probably going to do one of those later on. But that's the patron system. Included in that are chests for each patron, and the chests for each patron will have equipment for any character that can be used by that patron. So Mert the Moneylender chests will have gear for all good and evil champions. No neutrals, though. And so that's a good way to use this system to further gear up event champions. And you know, our stream code today actually includes some patron chests. So let's use that code and see what we got. So unlock a chest code. Patron chests. Hey, it worked out to 12. I can count. Ooh, what do we got? What do we got? Let's do the little sniff. Ooh, we got some epics. Oh, all right. Yeah, the chests. All right, here we go. Should I do Mert or Vajra first? I've done more Vajra free plays. Let's do Vajra first. So we got 1 rare. Let's save that one. Got a bounty contract. Child's boots for Shandy. I got a bounty contract and a stylish eye patch for Jarlaxle. And our rare is dun dun dun, the Regis amulet. And then let's check out Mert. Okay, we got a rare. We got 2 rares. Bounty contract. Caltrops for Shandy. Bounty contract. Ah, the Nayeli figure. And a bounty contract. All right. So, if you have an event champion that works with a certain patron and you definitely want to level them up or gear them up, excuse me, consider patron chests. Ooh, contain a piece of gear for each of Sandy's 6 equipment slots. All right. Let's see. Oh, I have confirmation from the dev team. The patron chests do have a pity timer. All right. Let's go through some more. Cobra King of Urt says, in broad terms, what is the expected release window for the next Evergreen Champion? I've been saving chests for months waiting since the announcement. That's a great question. First off, I'd like to apologize that we have not gotten an Evergreen Champion out sooner. I know that it's been a long delay since Izaka. We have plans for 2 Evergreen Champions. As I start working on Descent into Avernus, I'm starting to think of ideas for the next one, or the one that we'd unlock with that campaign line. But I don't have a date that I can lock into at this point. I can tell you that I've put one of them onto the schedule, but I have been sworn to secrecy about when, and we're going to do our best to squeeze it in. We are looking at the event, the Evergreen Champions. We're looking at updates to the Patron System. We're looking at quality of life updates and items that have been sitting out there for a while as we've been heads down trying to jam out the feats and the Patron System. So look forward to more updates to those systems as the weeks go on. Continue to give us feedback on what's working and what might not be working, what you find exciting about the system, and we'll continue to iterate on it. K-Cool asks, how can I pay attention with that cube in my mind? That's a good question. It's really tough. Maybe if I just gave you a small glimpse of it? Oh, no, that's the wrong one. I told you, we're just going to do this live. That's the gelatinous cube in all of its 7.5-foot glory. I'll give you a wider view at the end of the stream. But the cube is awesome. Studio Robots here in Victoria has been working on it, I feel like, around the clock for the past many weeks. It has been a long process, and we're pretty excited to finally reveal it. Let's see. What is What good is Spurt's durable feat when it doesn't even qualify him to run for your patron Vajra? Same for Warden. Giant Dwarf, that's a great question. I'm sure there's going to be multiple questions around that for both feats and just general patron questions. Like, why doesn't this character work? Or why does this feat not make them eligible for this thing? And the answer is the feats are trying to increase the versatility of champions for all characters, not just for patrons. Like, we didn't introduce feats for patrons, two separate systems. So the feat is there for a specific reason. Maybe it's for a variant that just needs some love. Maybe it's for working together with a different champion a little bit better. This specific one, I don't know, but I can ask Justin. But he created all the feats for specific reasons, and not all of them are for usability with patrons. So there's going to be champions. I think there's 5 of them right now that actually can't be used with any patron. As we continue to bring out new champions, as we continue to bring out new patrons, those champions will see some additional use. But there's always going to be champions that just can't be used with certain patrons, and yeah, every patron is going to be a little bit different. We're pretty excited about some of the options we have with those patrons. Fiery Crystal asks, hello, Chris. I've always wondered, how are adventure dialogues made? I really enjoy them and would like to know the creation of things from start to finish. Wow, that's a pretty long answer, Fiery Crystal. Let me see if I can give you a little bit of a peek behind the curtain. So it used to be that Justin or someone else on the internal team here would write all the dialogue. Over the past 2 years, we've shifted away from that. And so the way that we do it is we work with Scott Fitzgerald Gray. He is one of our freelance writers that we work with. And what I do is I build out the adventure and choose all the backgrounds, get the write the general overarching storyline, like just a paragraph worth. And then as I go through the adventures, I'll leave Scott notes like, we want to have a joke here, or we want to have a little bit of foreshadowing into the thing that's coming the next time. So I'll hand him over an Excel doc that has, out of the 50 areas, it probably has notes on 15 to 25 of them. I try to give Scott as much leeway as possible because, I want to create exciting and fun dialogues for the characters, but sometimes it's difficult when we're just giving a dump of information. But Scott just knocks it out of the park every single time. Like, I'll send him over 2 adventures, he'll give them back to me, and much like many of my coworkers here, I will hand them something and they will hand it back to me, and it's just 10 times better. So I'll go through and sometimes I'll add in a joke, or I'll add in a note for characters that Scott may not have as much of a grasp on their voice on. But as you can see in the latest adventures, and you'll see more in Descent into Avernus, I think Scott's been dipping his toe into his Minsk humor. So I think for Descent into Avernus, we're going to have some good Minsk and Boo jokes. Yeah, so that's a long-winded way of saying Scott is an amazing writer, and he does all the magic. I just build a box that he can work in and poke holes in and stuff. But yeah, Scott does all that writing, and once it comes in, we put it into the system and run tests and make sure it's all good. But that's a great question. Thanks for asking that, Fire Crystal. Noah Simple asks, what is my favorite of the new familiars? Oh, you can't have me pick one of my babies. My favorite of the new familiar is the farting flump. I mean, hands down, it's got to be the flump. Is it? That's a good question. All right, so I'm going to give you 2 answers. One is the flump, because it farts and it's always going on my ultimate bar, because it's just going to fart away, and I have a 6-year-old and fart jokes are hilarious. And my other favorite is potentially Crowy. We've had Crowy set up as a familiar for quite some time, since the beginning of Binwin Plays. And we've just never had the right opportunity to use him. And I needed a familiar for the Founders Pack 2, and Crowy came to mind. However, and this is a bit spoilery, we added an Easter egg for Crowy. So Crowy can be found in the Founders Pack 2. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on where Binwin is. Crowy can be found in the Founders Pack 2. He comes with this awesome new champion Toriel skin for Toriel. Look at the staff. It's crazy. But, are you ready for the Easter egg? If you take your Crowy and you bring it down to Binwin. That's not Binwin, that's Ishi. If you bring it down to Binwin, I don't know if you can even see this. Oh no, you can't. Hang on, let me fix this. I gotta fix this. Can I fix this? How can we do this? Can we do this? All right, there. Where's the black layer there? Nope, that didn't work. Ha ha! All right. I'm gonna totally mess up Dylan's system. He's gonna be so mad at me. All right, so you see Crowy? See him there leveling up his buddy Binwin? Well, you know what? If you say Crowy, 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 or Criddler, Criddler, Criddler. Oh, look at him there. It's the Criddler. It's the Criddler. He's right there. So if you have him on the bar with Binwin and you click him 3 times, he changes to the Criddler for 30 seconds. And then he'll switch back. So that was a pretty fun Easter egg that came about, I think, last week on Friday. Justin thought of it as a joke, and then Dave was like, hold my beer. Just threw it together, and now we've got Crowy and the Criddler. So yeah, so he's got to be on Binwin's bar, and you got to click him 3 times. And it doesn't turn him back if you click him 3 times. But then he'll switch back to Crowy. Let's see. Whew. Thank you for all these questions, everybody. We're going to be busy today. Tammin says, please tell someone when they plan to increase the maximum level of heroes. I really looked forward to this on August 28th. Increasing the soft cap. Yes, we were not planning that for the 28th. I don't know when we're going to get the next soft cap increase, but it will probably be before the end of the year. Probably. Not locking into that. KCool83 asks, number 1, your game is awesome. I have no questions. I just want you to know how much fun it is. Thanks, KCool. We're having a lot of fun with the game too, so I'm glad you're enjoying it. I really appreciate it. Let's see. Question from Arsenal Magus. Magus? If you could add one character from the greater D&D lore/streamer creations, which one would you pick? That's a tough question. I get that a lot, and it's tough for me to say because with input from the rest of my team, I'm the one that makes the call on which characters to add to the game. So by picking one, I've basically either I'm not including the ones that I'm going to have in the next 6 months, or I am, or I don't know. Let's see. Streaming character or greater D&D lore character. I am. How best to answer this? I would love to bring in characters from the Mighty Nine. The Critical Role folks are so generous and so cool. Honestly, I would love to work with them. So that's probably the characters that I'd be really excited about bringing into the game. Sort of the blue sky approach. But otherwise, I'm excited about bringing Artemis into the game and seeing what that does. I want to bring other characters into the game, and I'm not going to answer anymore because I'm just full of spoilers and I'm just going to mess up. No, there's a ton of characters, lore characters, streaming characters, C&E originals where we can play around with some of the races and classes that may be underrepresented, like you may or may not see in ASMR next week, maybe. But we have a ton of fun working with these characters, whether it's a C&E original and we can just sort of come up with the lore and the backstory and just really create this fully formed character, or whether we're lucky enough to work with a content creator or to bring out a character that we've all enjoyed for decades. It's super exciting. We love it. Question from Torishika. Anniversary Familiar re-release. You're talking about the gift wrap mimic from last year's anniversary event. Yeah, let's bring that out. Sorry, Crowy. This is the gift wrap mimic. That was our bonus familiar for last year's anniversary. This year, instead of doing another familiar, we did our first epic feat. So we don't have any plans right now for the Binwin just like jumped back in the middle of his animation. I'm like, where you going, buddy? We don't have any plans at this moment for a re-release of the anniversary familiar. However, everything that we've retired, everything that we've put out before, the Champion Naily skin, the Dinar Yum Yum Hut skin, the exclusive giveaways like Party Time Jarlaxle, the skin for Jarlaxle from last year. There he is. Is he in his party time? Of course he is. He has his hat on. All of these items that were previously exclusive, we are looking to get them back out. I don't have anything to announce right now, but for those that have been enjoying your exclusive Mimic Familiar, it may not be as exclusive in the future because we want to get it out there and let other people enjoy it as well. How do Cobra King of Urt says, how do you get that really rad, super fantastic red dragon disciple deacon skin? I may have added some words to that question. But this super rad red dragon disciple deacon skin is one of our new skin DLC packs, which you can get by going to the shop and going to the pack section. Unfortunately, I can't show it to you because I already have it. But in here with a little button that says new, you should see that in the in-game store. If you're on PlayStation, you might not see it till this evening. So all of our new DLC was able to be rolled out on the 28th. Unfortunately, on PlayStation, we're just slightly delayed. Everyone on PlayStation should get access to the DLC sometime this evening, probably within the next 5 or 6 hours. At the very worst, it'll be about 24 more hours. The Hasty Tadpole says, I just hope that Crit Role sponsorship leads to some characters. Hey, we're excited to just sponsor Critical Role. We love what they're doing, and it's been super fun to interact with that crew. Chasm of Bones asks, any chance we can get a tiered patron free play currency system that rewards deeper zone pushes rather than just the current system that just rewards the same old mad wizard runs? That's a great question. That sounds more like a patron system V2 or V3 upgrade. I will add a note for Justin. What's with all the costume skins? Snow 815 asks. They're fun. I mean, that's honestly why we started doing it. I mean, skins are fun. Cosmetic skins that let your characters look the way you want them to look is fun. That's all they are. They're just cosmetics. And so you can buy into them or you can't. Or you don't. I mean, if they're not for you, then they're not for you. But if you like them, they're available. Get that bat. Let's see. What are some characters you would like to see become a patron in the future? Ooh, similar to the champion question. Oh, I like this level. This is a super cool boss fight that I like. This is from Dragon Heist, and Trenzia, this flame skull, is going to come out and like electrify the ground because she's got all this copper plating on the ground. It's a super cool mechanic. I like it. Sorry, I got distracted. What are some characters you'd like to see become a patron in the future? I would love to see all of the bigger heroes of the Forgotten Realms that are, some might say, too cool to be a champion. Maybe Elminster, maybe Laurel, maybe, I don't know, maybe Dungeon Master from the cartoon. Like, we like to look at patrons as the characters that you always need to go to get those quests. The characters that are like, all right, seriously, there's this thing happening over here. You need to go take care of it because I'm way too busy. So that's where we're really looking at with patrons. That's why we've got Vajra and Mert. We're not going to have them as champions, maybe. But That's where we're thinking with patrons right now. Why in the world is... Giant Dwarf asks, why in the world is a potion of specialization 5,000? So what they're referring to is when you go to the shop, you can use the currency to purchase different items. The potion of specialization is 5,000 because that is the number that Justin assigned it. We're going to be looking at feedback on the cost system, and we will be tweaking it if we need to. Right now, these are the prices, and we're going to continue to flesh out this list and add more things like skins, maybe. Spoilers. And other items. And as we add items in, we may adjust some of the prices. So if we see feedback that something might be too high, maybe there's not a reason for it to be that high, or maybe there is. So continue to give us some feedback on that, and we'll continue to look at those pricing. But right now, the Patron system is the bones of the final system. We were honestly working on the Patron system up until last night. I am very proud in our team that we were able to get this out for August 28th up until as late as last week. We weren't really sure we were going to hit the 28th. So the fact that we hit it is great. The fact that we had a decent bug the first night might not be as great, but these kind of things happen with systems that you push into the last minute to get out. And we really wanted to get it out. People have been asking to replay variants for so long. We've been working on the system on the back end for so long. We wanted to get it out. So we pushed really hard. We got it out. Sometimes there's still some warts on the system, but we're gonna shave those off, and I'm gonna stop mixing metaphors. Have we gotten any hints as to the next event champion? There was a hint in the there was a big hint in the preview image, which is right here. You see this big preview image? This was made from by our friend Mars, Storyteller Mars, on the Discord. He took all of our console portraits for all of our champions from the first 2 years and put them all in this awesome lineup. So I definitely wanted to feature that art that he worked really hard on putting together. And there is a spoiler in there. So if you can find it, you've got your spoiler. All right. So many questions. This is awesome. So much easier to answer questions than to ramble for 2 hours. What haven't we talked about? Anniversary celebration. Let's talk about that for a second. Not only are there new DLC, not only is there a new patron system, but we're also celebrating the anniversary. It's been 2 years since Idle Champions launched on Steam. It launched on September 7th, 2017. Maybe 2 years is a little ahead of the game, but I had to fit it into a week between events. So happy birthday, Idle Champions. Happy birthday to everyone that's been playing with us. Thank you. Special shout out to everyone who's been with us since launch or close to launch. And a special hello to everyone who's just joining because of the anniversary celebration. Every day from noon Pacific to noon the next day, you can claim a birthday chest. Each one has different items in it, and each one can help you push further and further. If you're able to collect 4 out of the 7 birthday chests, you can collect an anniversary chest. And the anniversary chest has 5 gold chests, fingers crossed for a feat in there, as well as our first epic feat for Celeste and the Mind Flayer Hitch skin. The Mind Flayer Hitch skin is another skin that we've had in the back burner for a while, just like Crowy. Adam, our art director, was arguing that we could go crazier and crazier with skins. Like when we first thought about skins, I was thinking way too small. I was like, hey, we'll add a cape to Naeli. And then Adam looked at me and he's just like, what are you even talking about? Like, you need to do more than a cape. And then I spilled my coffee on the streaming table. He was like, we need to do more than a cape. And then he threw together Party Time Jarlaxle. And I was like, there's no way we're going to get a balloon sword approved. But somehow we got a balloon sword approved. So we're just going to keep tweaking that dial till Wizard says, whoa, that's too crazy. So part of that exploration on how crazy we can go with skins led us to the Mind Flayer Hitch. And I was like, oh, you don't want to turn Hitch into a Mind Flayer. And then I was like, oh, geez, dude, just let it go. It's not canon. It's just fun. So we've got Mind Flayer Hitch. And If you don't have Hitch, for the newer players, if you sign up for the newsletter, which you can do through the main menu here, if you sign up through the newsletter, you'll get weekly emails with free chests, and you'll unlock Hitch. Hitch is an evergreen champion that is in slot 7, I believe. 8, 9, 10, no, 9. And comes with Delina, shares a slot with Delina, and all you have to do to unlock him is sign up for the newsletter. So if you sign up for the newsletter, you'll get Hitch, and then if you collect your 4 anniversary or birthday chests, you'll unlock Mind Flayer Hitch. So let's open up this birthday chest. Ooh. Let's see. Potion of Giant Strength, Potion of Fire Breath, Blacksmithing Contract, and a Time Gate piece. Ooh. Let's use that Blacksmithing Contract right away. Let's check out that new blacksmithing dialogue that one of our newest devs, Max, put together. Let's see. They're also the designer behind the DPS breakdown. So shout out to Max. Max worked on this for the first couple of weeks of being on the team, and they've been working really, really hard, including revamping the blacksmithing contract page. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to use 24 blacksmithing contracts. So each of these will add a bunch of levels. Let's see. Let's add champions. Let's add levels to... Let's do Archon, because I've been doing Archon builds, and they are fun. 24 large blacksmithing contracts to gain levels on random loot for Archon, and here we go. Blam! Pew, 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 pew. Like, how cool is that? Also, seriously, Dragon Scale Shield of the Unholy, man. I wanted some levels there. But that's how the new blacksmithing contract works, and it looks super awesome, and it's really well done. Let's see. Let's go back to some questions. What time is it? Ooh, we are almost through our first hour, and I only mildly spilled coffee on Dylan's desk for when he returns. It wasn't really that bad. I can imagine him watching the live stream at PAX right now and just being like, oh no, why did he spill coffee on my desk? It's going to forever smell like coffee. Cobra King of Urt asks, can you say more or less than a year for the Evergreen Champion release? Less than a year. I promise you, less than a year. We will have the next Evergreen Champion out in less than a year. I can commit to that. Let's see. KK Cool 83 says, your game is awesome. Thanks for doing great work on it. New for 2 weeks, but I love it. Putting a question mark so you can actually see this. Oh, well, thanks. I appreciate that, KK Cool. Thanks for playing. Thanks for hanging around. We've got a new champion coming next week. Toriel, the Aasimar Scourge. Oh my god, I just blanked on his class. That's embarrassing. I don't think he's a paladin. Man, now I gotta look this up. I can almost hear the rest of the office laughing at me. Story. I really hope you guys can't see this. I should probably check that. Nope. Okay, cool. I got someone put bookmarks in this document. So, next week's champion. As a little bit of spoiler, because we're so busy with everything else right now, we're not going to be talking about next week's champion until next week. He's past Jim. He's not that person. The next week's champion is Toriel, an Aasimar cleric. Aasimar? Hope I'm pronouncing that right. So he is a CNE original. We've been wanting to bring an Aasimar into the game for quite some time, and so now we have one. And we think he's going to be well suited for your Descent into Avernus adventures. That's all the spoilers you get. Let's see. Thunder Remix asks, what happened to Vassen Kale? He was mentioned in a Q&A a year ago, but I don't remember CNE giving any updates about him. He's forever been on our list. One of our earliest visual explorations with champions had Adam drawing up Vassen Kale, so we have an early V1 version of him. And that's why we've probably talked about him, because we've just always had that version of them sitting out there. Let's see. Twofold Gambit asks, are we going to see variants and or locations based on other D&D campaign modules that have been released, such as Tyranny of Dragons or Storm King's Thunder? That's a great question. Obviously, with our release cadence, it is very, very difficult to put out multiple campaigns a year. I think we've gotten the cadence down where we can complete a campaign in about a year and a half with all the other things that we have going on. And so going back to older campaigns, if we created like Storm King's Thunder and Castle Ravenloft or Tyranny of Dragons, if we created all those new campaigns and tried to fill them all in, we would never get to the new stuff. So the way that we've looked at it is we're looking at the Grand Tour of the Sword Coast to be the way to sprinkle in some of those settings and baddies and modules that we're not going to be able to devote full campaigns to. So that's why we had that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, that 10 or so adventure in Barovia as part of the Grand Tour. I expect we'll do other dips into other modules as we continue to explore the Sword Coast. So we're not going to have specific campaigns for the older modules like Tyranny of Dragons or Storm King's Thunder, but we are going to dip into that content probably in Grand Tour of the Realms, but not anytime soon. I want to have a little bit of space for some original content in between dips into other stuff. So the next Grand Tour, which was just released. Yeah, the next Grand Tour won't have any of that content. It'll have a different storyline. But eventually we'll get into some probably Storm Kings or Tyranny of Dragon content. Let's see. Cinefe86 asks, speaking about dialogues, is it possible some event champions will get a dialogue in during the adventures we are using them? For example, if we use, say, Jim, is it possible he could get some dialogue in adventures? Any other event champions as well. Dynamic dialogues are difficult. They're difficult for a couple of different reasons. One, the system doesn't currently support it. We build the dialogues as a set of conversations that have trigger points, and we don't have alternative tracks. So if we were going to do specific dialogue for different event champions, we would not only have to have this sort of nesting dialogue system built, which we don't have built right now, but also we'd need to create that dialogue for a bunch of different characters, because for every person that wants to have Jim dialogue, there's a person that wants Deacon dialogue, there's a person that wants more Jarlaxle, there's a person that wants Archon dialogue. So then going through and having to create nested dialogues with all of our 45 different heroes, we wouldn't be able to support that just with the resources that we have right now. But what I can do is for characters that I am comfortable with their voice, I do try to sprinkle in dialogue for those characters. So for example, the beginning of Descent into Avernus, spoilers, will contain a little bit of Lanya dialogue, because I understand her voice, and it's a way for me to not have Naeli, Celeste, Jarlaxle, and Binwin, Brunor always be the talkers. So I do try to sprinkle in some event champions but I want the dialogue to be natural and authentic to the character. I don't want to just have someone say one thing and then just switch the speaker based on who you're using. We try to craft our adventures with some narrative focus. So I don't think we're going to have dynamic speaking dialogues anytime soon, but I will make it a point to try and include a wider variety of event champions. Any rough ETA for Descent? Soon. That works, right? No. We hope to have Descent out in September. We are a bit crunched on our timelines because of all of the August work we've been doing. But it is my goal to have Descent out in September. But if we don't hit it, it'll be October. But we should have it for September. Jokers Forever asks, will we be getting some Blame Chris t-shirts and mouse pads in the future? Hashtag take my money now. Uh, I don't know. That sounds like a great t-shirt. I would wear it every day. No, we're not planning to get into the physical merch economy right now. But some Blame Chris t-shirts sound pretty fun. I should get some for the office for Christmas. Let's see. Giant Dwarf asks, no reasonable expectation to unlock Esmeralda as a new evergreen from Barovia. No reasonable expectation. I choose to not answer that question. I love Esmeralda. I think she's a super rad character. I would love to have her as a champion in the future. Krilly asks, how do you feel about there being a Blame Chris emoji in Discord? I'm fine with it. I am, yeah. No, sorry. I was trying to craft a comment in my head. It didn't really work. I think it's hilarious. I don't take offense to it. We joke about it in the office. We just joke about blaming whoever was the source of the problem. And it's all done in jest. It's all in good fun. So I love it. Like I said, I would wear a Blame Chris t-shirt every day. Let's see. Must I pay for all the new familiars, or can I spend gems for it? Smoker D Player, thanks for the question. There are two different types of familiars, and if you open up the familiar dialog here, I'm not on the game, I'm on my XSplit. If you open up the familiar dialog here, you'll see that some of them have the option to buy, and the cost is shown in gems. For those familiars, you can purchase them with gems. But for other familiars that are in the store, at this time, you can only spend money on them. But there are a bunch of these. Let's see, the Mage Hand, Pixie, the Almirage, and Armored Jupiter and Boo are all available for gems. Let's see. Can you indefinitely reset patron influence? At the moment, I believe so. It doesn't have a 10% drop off like the favor that you would spend in blessings. I'm not sure if that's a permanent feature or if that's just the fact that this is a V1. And if we are going to tweak those numbers, it's easier to do if we're not actively taking currency from you. So right now, if what they're referring to is if I spend influence on any of these bonuses, if I reset, I'm going to get all that back. So 308 EO4, if I spend it and reset it, I get it all back. As opposed to blessings, where when you reset and respend, I think you will get 90% back. But for right now, there you can infinitely reset influence and play around with different options and see which ones are best for you. King Philip X says, can you put Tiamat in the game as a playable character, please? Are you Joe? No. Tiamat, that is... No, we're not going to put Tiamat as a playable character. Yes, I would love to have Tiamat as an endgame boss. But Tiamat is one of those god characters that I am not going to spend willy-nilly. When we face Tiamat, it's going to be a big deal, and she is just going to be taking up the entire screen. Like her heads are going to end like right here, and yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. Noah Simple says, will we ever see Chris Dupuy as a champion in the game? I can tell you for sure, no. Can I spoil this weekend's champion buffs? Sure. Let's see. This weekend's champion buffs are... Hold, please. The champions that will be a part of the Friends and Allies weekend starting tomorrow at 12 Pacific is Brunor. Nope, sorry. That was last week. I know how to do this. It's fine. For the Patrons Welcome Weekend, starting on Friday at noon Pacific time, we're going to have Dinar, Calliope, Birdsong, Toriel, and Jamila. The GE is going to be for Calliope for all those new players coming in. Yeah. So Patrons Welcome Weekend, starting at noon on Friday and going till noon on Monday. And for newer players, the way weekend promos work is at noon on every Friday, we buff and feature 5 of our champions. And we try to mix it up so everyone gets into a weekend every once in a while. But we do try to focus on characters that are a part of the meta. And each of those characters gets a mechanical boost for the weekend. So, like, for example, Dinar's Lead by Example is going to get buffed this weekend. So there's an added incentive to use them. And then, if you want to buy weekend chests, of which we send one to you in the newsletter, it will include equipment only for those characters. Excuse me. So the Patrons Welcome Weekend chest this weekend, as I say weekend like 3 times in a sentence, is only going to have equipment for Dinar, Calliope, Birdsong, Toriel, and Jamila. So if those are characters that you use often, that could be a chest that interests you. But either way, all of those characters are buffed for the weekend. And that happens every weekend. Where are we? We still... Wow. Oh my goodness. I've only got an hour left, guys. So many questions. Question, who was that dude with the white eyes on the title card for the stream? That information. I basically said that. That's Toriel. That's the upcoming ASMR cleric. Giant Dwarf asks, with the released variants now, what can be the expected reached tier in patrons? Well, that super depends. I'm assuming you're asking what we're expecting veteran players to reach. And I can tell you from my experience that just starting out with patron variants at 275 is challenging because you don't have your core group. You may have part of your core group, but you've really got to relearn certain characters, and it's kind of reinvigorated the game for me. It's super fun. Not that I was growing sour on the game or anything, but I was getting into the idea of this is my group and I'll switch it around a little bit. But then I started to play around with some of the other characters, and I've got a lot of options for formations, and it's super exciting. But what are we expecting people to reach in the patrons? It depends on the variant. It depends on how geared up you are. I don't know that we have a target. We just know that the variants are meant to be very hard because of the added restrictions, and they're meant to be more veteran and long-term player concept system. All right. Smiley Jersey says, considering the number of familiars now available to us to unlock, is there a limit to how many familiars we can have on the board? Well, as of last week, there was a limit of 20 because I put 22 in my game and blew up my system, and I had to have Mark fix it. But you're welcome. QA works because now that doesn't happen. So the limit is, let's see, you can put 6 up here. I think you put 4 here, so that's 10, and then you have 12 more spots, so that's 22 plus 1 for the click damage. And I don't believe I'm missing any. I think there's 23 spots. I'm sure the chat will update and correct me if I am wrong, which I might be. Skeletal Scrond Skin when? I don't know. That sounds pretty cool, though. Note for Adam. Jokers Forever asks, will we be seeing Aleros Margaster in the future? Has he been talked about as coming? Not recently. There are so many different champions that, or so many different lore-based characters that we can bring out. There's just so many. We don't have Aleros in the plan for the next 6 months, I can tell you that. Let's see. Keeper GFA asks, can you please tell Steam that people who have bought the complete Force Grey pack already own the individual packs for those characters? I will note for myself to... I don't think we can change the way Steam is displaying the things, just because it's set up as a bundle, so it should automatically be working. I can definitely look into the Steam backend to see if I can fix that so it doesn't continuously try to offer you those things. In the in-game store, we might have a little bit more ability to take those away. That's a very good point. Let's see, note for myself, fix in-game store. Whoops. Sorry. If you remember at the start of this, I'm not used to doing this. I've lost all my muscle memory. Giant Dwarf says, yes, Elminster should totally be a patron. I agree. Maybe I should email Ed about that. Let's see. Speaking of events, any hints on how Year 3 champions will be handled? That's a good question. I don't know yet. We had some initial discussions on it, but we haven't locked into the plan yet. And the plan is currently on hold execution-wise until Justin comes back from vacation. So we're going to figure out what Year 3 events look like probably the week before we submit High Harvest Time. But as everyone knows from the way we did Year 2, our goal is to try and make it as easy as you can to do the things you want to do while also not overwhelming new players with the number of choices. And we're going to take that same kind of approach with Year 3. So with Year 2, the way we approached it was we wanted to try and make sure that you could get the same amount of chests for both champions. And so we lowered the cost of all the variants for the Year 1 champion, and we introduced the rolling costs of free plays. I'm not going to say that we're going to do the same thing this year, but we're going to be approaching it from the same mentality of trying to make sure that players that are playing as free-to-play players can gear up their event champions as much as possible. So that's sort of the angle we're going to be coming at it from. Is there anything that Zayurai asks, is there anything that Wizards turned down that you can talk about? Unfortunately not, because we're bound by an NDA. Wizards is our licensor, and discussions with Wizards, especially about what can and can't come into the game, really shouldn't be talked about as behind the scenes items, because we want to make sure that we're not accidentally spoiling anything from Wizards' standpoint. So there's been points where we've come to Wizards and said, hey, we want to do this champion, and they'll say, well, we've got plans for that character 6 months from now, and we haven't redesigned the way the character looks for this new medium, so you can't use them right now. Or we have amorphous plans for this character in the future, so we'd prefer that you don't use them now. But most of the time, I want to say 90% of the time, when we go to Wizards and we say, hey, this is our new champion, they go, hey, that looks pretty cool. So they're super generous partners in that effect, where they're letting us play in the sandbox and kind of make our own world here. And it's been really exciting to work with them and with all the other content creators that we've been partnering with. So there hasn't been many times where Wizards has said no. But whenever there's a character that I think might have some back and forth on whether or not we can or should use them, I always go to our partner, Xiaoling, a little bit early to make sure that that's not an issue. Because the last thing I want to do is submit a character and say, hey, this is our new character, and have them go, yeah, we don't want you to do that. Because that means we're going to miss an event, which is not good. And that's kind of like my job to not happen. There appears to be no mention in the game of Jim's box ability and associated stats. Assuming this is correct, are there plans to add it somewhere on his character sheet? Yeah, I feel like we should probably put it somewhere. Basically, he goes into his box whenever the formation's under attack. And you can see him here, but I can't pull him out because he's currently overwhelmed and now he's dead. But whenever the formation's under attack, Jim jumps into his portable hole and just shoots his wands from outside his box. The reason it's not on his character sheet and the reason it's not in his list of formation abilities is, I was going to say that it doesn't have a mechanical effect, but it does, because when he's in the box, I think he fires twice as many missiles. So yes, I will add that as a note. We should note this. Don't you like when I start a conversation with myself and just walk around in a whole circle and get at a different spot? That's kind of interesting. Since the upcoming Eberron book will make an artificer an official class, might we expect to see an artificer before too long? In much the same way that we use the wizards. Ooh, I'm getting destroyed over here. Hang on a second. Hold, please. Let's see. Familiar. For those that are playing on Steam or WebGL versions, like Congregate or Armor, if you hold down the F button, that'll bring up the familiar interface, and you can just click on all the different locations you want to put familiars. No, you guys don't get to stay here, because the only one that's worthy here is the Flumph. I want to see those farts. That sounded weird. I'm not going to say that anymore. Okay. There we go. Now I got some familiars going, and hopefully I won't die anymore. So many familiars. Oh, now they're going to hit all the specializations. All right, more questions. Let's see. Frontline fighter, yes. Cheer squad, extended warranty. This is not a good formation at all, but we've got more things going. This way they can keep going. In fact, since I'm just doing a free play, maybe I should show you what the Patron free play system looks like. So, I want to take this opportunity to thank everyone for hanging out with us today. It's always super fun to get to go back and forth with all y'all on your questions. I apologize that I haven't been able to do it as much recently. Partially, Dylan is in charge of streams, and also I have a lot of things to take care of. And if I fall behind, everyone falls behind. And I don't like to be that guy that holds everyone back. So I've been trying to focus more on all the things that keep me busy, which unfortunately keeps me away from Q&As and streams. So let's look at this. So when you have patrons unlocked, when you're on the adventure screen, when you're on the map, you can choose which patron you will work for. So I'm going to choose Vajra, and I'm going to go through Grand Tour of the Sword Coast, and let's pick where beasts have their health damage and speed dramatically increased, and only champions with a con score of 14 or higher can be used. So one thing that you'll see here is that we took away the free play as an option in the variant. So everything that is sort of tabbed over is a variant, and the free play is looped into the base adventure here. And you'll note that your patron and the patron restrictions are all highlighted in a specific color. So it'll remind you that A, you're on a patron mission, and B, what the specific limitations are. So you can figure out which ones would be better to do, because some of these are going to be darn near impossible right now. But again, this is a late game system meant for veteran players. So hopefully veteran players will see these as super challenging, because that's the way I'm looking at them. So we're going to do wherever powered for Vajra. If I'm able to complete it, if I'm able to get to 275, I'm going to get this much Vajra influence and this much Vajra currency, and then the same sort of divine favor I would normally get. If I push and I'm only able to get to 250 or 230, which is where I've been getting stopped recently, I'll still get the divine favor, but I won't get any of the patron stuff. So let's see if we can do this. So we got Deacon over here, and unfortunately I don't have Celeste because of Vajra's limitations. Only people with con of 14 plus. So con feat for Celeste when? Let's see. Get her intelligence up, but not her con. All right. So I'll go through and pick out champions to run. Let's see, let's do some Ishii here. And, Evelyn can be my tank. I think I'm going to run, let's see if I do tank here. And I've been having a lot of fun with Jamila DPS builds, especially in those double tank formations. If you can scoot an extra tank next to her, she has been a powerhouse, and that was a huge surprise for me because I hadn't played with her for so long. Let's see. Now that I'm done setting up the game and not talking, I think it's time to get back to questions. Do, 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 do. Do, do, do. Let's see, we'll do that one, we'll do that one. Put Binwin right there, and go. Maybe we'll get speed potion going so we can see if we can get to the wall. Go faster! And some clairvoyance. All right. Woo! Oh, you know what? I should disable flashing for folks. I apologize. I always have that disabled when I'm streaming, and I forgot to do that today. Let's also get those familiars in here. They'll help me. Oh my goodness, it's so fast. Nope. You go there. Nope, Iris. Fine. Iris can go down there. Upgrading the character that can't be used. Okay. That's good for now. Let's go back to some questions. We have all these alternate platforms, Raycole mentions. Will we get a native Linux build? We do not have any plans to expand to Linux at this time. Noah Simple asks, will you ever see partnerships with DM's Guild folks to get their adventures translated into the game? That's a really interesting idea. We're always looking for new, interesting ways that we can interact with the community, and working with some of the great authors of the DM's Guild could definitely be a way to go about that. Chasms of Bone asks, any word on Year 1 Part 2 champion update? Ishii is in need of some love, as are most of the others that haven't gotten a rework pass yet. We don't have... Hellish Rebuke, and we'll put you in front. We don't have a date to announce on the rebalance of Year 1 Part 2. As soon as we got out of Year 1 Part 1, we immediately dove into feats and the patron system. So we've been sort of all hands on deck on those two aspects. So I don't have a date on that yet, but we will be trying to slide it in soon. Let's see. Darklink 1011. How about dialogue for event champions in the event you get them in? So I've tried that with a couple of event modules. The challenge is the first time you go through it, you don't have the character. So having them speak is a little weird. After you go through it, having them speak is a little less weird, like on the variants. So when I've had events where I've wanted to have event champion dialogue, like the event for the champion for that event, I've done it as a unique dialogue variant as opposed to having the dialogue in the core run, because it's just going to be confusing if, like, let's say, for example, you're in the gym variant, you're trying to unlock Jim, and he's just chatting away like he's part of the formation already, and he's not. So that's why we've tended to lean on unique dialogue variants for event champion dialogue in their events. But we're going to continue to test that. We're going to continue to play around. We're going to take chances and try different things and see what the feedback is. So we appreciate all the feedback that we see on the Discord, both positive and negative. As always, it's better to catch flies with honey rather than, I don't know, not honey. So the more polite the feedback, the better it is to accept and look at. So, but we appreciate all the feedback that we see from the players. We're always lurking on Discord and trying to follow everything so that we can make the game as stable and as fun for all of our players as we can. Ray Cool asks, Esmeralda for patron. Maybe. Cinefe asks, any plans for revamping Force Grey like Companions of the Hall so they actually work together? I have had some thoughts towards that, but at the moment it's not on the front burner. Giant Dwarf asks, patron global perks are always active? Yes. So when you go into the patrons, you're going to see two different types of perks. Think of these like, that's not the right button. No. Think of these like blessings, where you have what we're calling regular blessings, and then you have global blessings. Global blessings affect all campaigns, even non-patron runs, patron runs. Global blessings affect everything, whereas for regular blessings, they only affect this specific deity, runs for that deity, like Torm's Favor. These will only work in Grand Tour adventures. These will only work in Tomb of Annihilation adventures. But the global buffs work everywhere. The patron system is the same way. These buffs, the local buffs, we weren't 100% sold on that language. We're still not sure yet. We're trying to find the right terminology. Maybe this is patron specific. I don't know. But the local buffs are supposed to only be effective or only be on when you're running an adventure for that patron. These are patron specific. Global are always on. They're just like the global blessings. They're always on. So continue to chat about that. We'll continue to look at the language on all of our patron systems to make sure that it is as grokkable as possible. Giant Dwarf asks, when will old weekend chest GEs be available for purchase? Well, old weekend chests are probably not going to be available for purchase again because they were built in a world where X amount of champions were not available. So if we were to revisit an old chest, it wouldn't necessarily have all the champions that we would want to put in it. So we're probably not going to re-release old chests, but we do have a system that we're working on to have the GEs available. I don't have an ETA on that system right now. Again, we just crunched our way through August to get through feats and patron system. And when I say crunch, I mean a little bit differently than the crunch you normally hear in the video game system, the video game industry. How best to phrase this? When I think of crunching, I think everyone's working on it. They're just nonstop. Everyone's fully maxed out in terms of their available time and what they're focused on, as opposed to we're working till midnight every night. We're not doing that. But we were completely tasked out for the past month, getting PAX West, the anniversary, patron system, feats, the regular cadence of updates and champions, planning for the rest of the year, getting ready to be a little bit further ahead on some of our stuff. So it's been a very busy time. So I don't have a specific date. But I do have a schedule that I've mapped out and we'll be talking to Justin about next week. Arsenal Magus asks, will CNE ever come to Europe for any events? If you don't already, we would be happy to have you. Also, thanks for the previous answer and the great game. Thanks. We don't currently have any plans to visit any European or Asian conventions. Right now, the furthest we've gone is we've had a semi-presence at Australia, and we normally stick around the PAXs. But that's not to say that we won't travel to London or France or anywhere for a convention. If we can find the right opportunities and it is cost effective, then we will be traveling. We love going to conventions. We love meeting fans. We love spreading our reach to be able to reach as many people as possible. So we don't have any plans to come to Europe for a convention, but that's not to say that won't happen in 2020. Supply215 asks, what are the chances of a Snoop Dogg champion now that Hasbro owns both Wizards and his old record label? I'll tell you, if Snoop is a D&D player, you give him my email address. That'd be fun to work with. That'd be super fun. Is he a D&D player? I don't know. I haven't heard. Let's see. Bromium 2048 asks, any idea of incorporating some... I feel like I'm like leaning down and slowly turning into a rock here. Oh, I'm uncomfortable. Any idea of incorporating some really old school content like Dragonlance characters? Not currently. Right now, Wizards is focused on the Forgotten Realms, and we're seeing that we are the idle champions of the Forgotten Realms. We are focused on FR right there with them. That's not to say that we don't want to play in the Greyhawk or Dragonlance world. It's just that right now we're trying to focus on Forgotten Realms. Cinefe asks, any plans on adding heroes from Planescape Torment? We love the guys over at Beamdog, and we love working with them. See Deacon. But we don't currently have any plans that I can announce on Planescape Torment characters. Faye Belladonna asks, Jim's Wand of Wonder attack seems like a negative often. Is it possible to make it a choice, or perhaps have it fire in parallel with his main attack? I'm gonna note it as a discussion point for Justin and I in our production meeting. With Justin. Right now it's meant to be a little chaotic because Jim is a little chaotic. I'd be interested to hear why you think it's a negative. I can see how an armored mimic coming at you and needing to hit it before it gets to you can be a little stressful, especially because you're not choosing when to do it. But we were seeing both of those options as positive. So, Faye Belladonna, if you'd like to update and explain why you're seeing it as a negative, just so I can see it from that perspective, I'd appreciate it. Let's see. Hang on. I got a bunch more questions. We got about a half an hour left. Let me look at my list to make sure I covered everything I wanted to cover. And Erica, feel free to leave comments in here if I have missed something. But I think I've got most of that covered. Let's dive through these and see if we can get through the rest in a half an hour. Let's see. Hellish Dream asks, have you considered someone like Kimuriel Oblidra as a patron? He's co-leader of the Bregendarth group, and considering Jarlaxle is in the party itself, Bregendarth would be a great faction for the Patron System, with the restriction that only male characters could be used. Obviously, that's built off of the idea that Bregendarth is sort of a schism of the Drow culture, where Drow culture is matriarchal. And let's see. Sorry, comments, questions popping up and distracting me. I have not considered Kimuriel as a patron, but that is an excellent suggestion. Let's see. Giant Dwarf asks, have you thought of putting together a, quote, yawning portal type book for your event adventures? No, but that's a super cool idea. Super cool idea. Maybe on the DM's Guild for charity. I like your thinking, Giant Dwarf. Let's see. Wild Angel 61 asks, will Naeli's DLC pack go on sale anytime soon? I gotta be honest, my world has been entirely focused on the last 3 weeks of sales and the release of the new DLC. I cannot tell you when the next sale is going to be. But I will make a point of flagging Naeli's DLC pack to go on sale soon-ish, probably within the next 2 to 3 months, but no promises. I will do my best. Legendary Dragon 75 asks, is Undead Celeste real? Was there a game in D&D that inspired her? Yes, Undead Celeste was inspired by part of the Tomb of Annihilation module from our friends over at Neverwinter. They did a Tomb of Annihilation module where Celeste died and needed to be resurrected in order to defeat the Soulmonger. And it was a real conflict for her character. But that's where our inspiration for Undead Celeste came from. So if you want to see more Undead Celeste, check out the Tomb of Annihilation module from our friends at Neverwinter. No. All right, let's see. Some follow-ups on that Wand of Wonder question. The slow and stun bolts do no damage, hence they are negative aspects. Changing into a mimic or a chicken are cool, though. Mimics have so much health and eat up your time or potions, so you have to use more over the run. Okay, those are great notes. I will flag for follow up. But I believe Justin's going to come to the idea of, the Wander Wonders just meant to be chaotic, much like Jim. But we will definitely look that up. Almost there. Let's see. Geistpalm says, hey, by the way, I've seen potions of polish in the patron's shop. Is it intended that there's only one potion per patron? So potions of polish are normally, we reserve them for physical money purchases. So that we offer like a shiny card or a potion of polish, hopefully for every $10 or so that you've spent. So yes, potions of polish are a limited item. And I believe that it is one per patron. It's unlike these that have limited purchases per week. I believe this is a one purchase per patron. So this is a way for free-to-play players to get access to some of the cool perks that purchasers have. So the Potion of Polish is in here as a free reward. Obviously not free, but a reward that you can gain currency for. But I believe it is one per patron. Let's see, does Mert have one? Boop. Mert's got one too. Boop. Question in patron free play. Do we have to get to 2,500 per each patron to cap out? Yes, I believe the cap is per patron. Don't quote me on that. Let me check the FAQ real quick. So I'm going to the patron dev blog. Searching for 2,500. That's not there. Patron variants, patron free plays. I believe that it is 2,500 per patron, but I am not 100% sure. I will double check. Smart. Okay. All right. Sir Colin Kalin asks, is there any vague timeline/goal for the other half of the rebalance update that changed the Companions of the Hall? It greatly improved the ability of the Companions, and I'm wondering if there's an idea when it might be coming. I don't have a definitive date on that yet, but now that we are finally past August 28th, we are going to start discussing the rest of the year in terms of our goals and our timelines. So hopefully. Going back to the patron free play, there's a cap of earning 5,000 currency per patron, which translate to completing 2,500 areas on free plays for that patron. So that's where I got confused between the 2,500 and the 5,000. Yes, so 2,500 per patron. Let's see. Sir Colin Kalin. Oh, no, I got that one. Question on Mert's Tier 3 global perk. Let's pull that up. Tier 3 global. Is the neutral on the good and evil axis or the lawful and chaotic axis? We try to make it only the good and evil axis because that's super confusing because there's neutral on both sides of the matrix. So the neutral is on the good-evil axis. Geistpalm66 says, do the people at your office like Path of Exile? I believe they do. I don't think anyone's actively playing, but most of us do enjoy those types of games. Geistpalm says, Chris, have you ever heard about Caster of Magic? It's a total conversion of the old DOS game Master of Magic that should be really interesting for you. I have not, but I will check it out. Thanks for the tip. Question from Egane10, and I apologize if I'm butchering like everyone's name today. Questions: are variant resets per week to replay them for a patron, or are those only a play once variant? Are variant resets per week to replay them for patron? I believe it's a one play per patron limit. So if you want to replay the variants, you can replay them for Vajra, you can replay them for Mert, but then they'll be shut down again until we have new patrons to play for. Let's see. Sir Colin, there's a few team characters that are rarely ideal to pair together. Rosie boosts Walnut's ability, but it's almost never better to drop in a formation than Tyrell. Are there any plans to rebalance a few of the teams to make them work together as well as the champions? Yes, there are plans. Our designs are constantly evolving, and the way we look at champions, the way we look at affiliations are evolving, especially as we look towards the patron system. So I think the Companions of the Hall is really our pinnacle of what we like an affiliate team to look like. I think we're always going to have challenges, some of them foreseen, some of them unforeseen with certain champions because, as you pointed out, Tyrell might always be better than Rosie, even though Rosie has synergy with some of the characters. As Rosie continues to get geared up, that might change, or as other options come up, Tyrell may or may not be available, like with the patron system, but Rosie would be the right go for that. Or maybe you don't care about min-maxing and you just want Rosie to have fun with the other C team members. But we are looking to revamp and update characters, especially as we see them in actual play and we see what works and what doesn't work about them. Let's see. Nom4D84 says, Chris, this isn't really a question, but we've been getting even more into board games recently, and I stumbled on your Board Game Geek profile. I never made the connection that you worked on Risk Legacy. Yes, I worked on Risk Legacy with Rob Davio. Actually, Risk Legacy is one of the games that I'm most proud of working on. I have always been a huge fan of Risk. I remember many Saturday afternoons with my family around the kitchen table, writing up treaties and taking photos on our Polaroid camera to show the handshake of the treaty, and then laughing maniacally when I revoked the treaty and backstabbed my brother. So Risk has always held a special place in my heart. And when Rob reached out to me with his crazy idea for a legacy game, and the fact that the first one was going to be Risk, I jumped on board working with him as a developer. And it was super duper fun. And as I learned when I cleared out my storage unit, I still have a case of Risk Legacy games that I purchased to play with my daughter when she grows old enough. So I'm super excited. I love that game. And if you haven't checked it out, Risk Legacy, it is super fun. It is a great version of Risk that I am way too close to accurately critique. But I've played, during playtesting, I think we'd played 42 different games on like 8 or 9 different worlds, and everyone was different, and everyone created stories of that moment when that player did something that changed the game so dramatically. I love legacy games. They're so much fun. Broadface Killer asks, how often will a new patron be released? Right now, all of our efforts have been to get the system out. Next steps on the system are going to be to sand off the rough edges, and then figure out what a regular patron cadence looks like. So the next steps are going to be to double check pricing, to see feedback, to introduce patron challenges. Patron challenges are more than likely going to come before the next patron. But that's good because, or at least in my opinion, that's good because I really enjoyed the C team challenges where it gave me certain goals that I could do, and I think that it's a good opportunity with patron challenges, and I'm excited to see what that does to play patterns, mine specifically. Let's see. With patrons having time gate pieces, will time pieces still drop from bosses? Oh, of course. We made no changes to the time gate drop system. Time gate systems are still in place. The drop rate is still the same. It's just we added time gate pieces as something that you can purchase with patron currency. 2,500, you can get 1 week. Summons. This person asks, where is the patron screen for Xbox? It is in the menu screen. So when you go to whether you're in the gamepad UI or where's Dinar? Oh, yeah, that's why these guys are getting so close, because I don't have Dinar. He just throws up everywhere. It's in the menu system. I believe it's next to familiars. So when you go into the main menu in Xbox, you can scroll over to the patron area. And we're trying to make the gamepad / console dialog boxes look the same as the regular dialog boxes, so it's easier to explain them no matter the system that you're working on, or no matter the platform. Well, 73 questions in an hour and 40 minutes. Not bad. Thanks, everybody, for giving me all those awesome questions. I appreciate it. It's been fun getting to chat with everyone. So let's go through all the cool stuff that I wanted to mention for people that are here now that weren't here earlier. Also, let's level up Deacon. All right, so lots of new stuff in Idle Champions. We've got our anniversary celebration, which you can get from these little notifications. Yeah, we totally have that. Okay, sorry, different thing. Every day, you can get a birthday chest with 4 unique items, and if you collect 4 of the birthday chests over the next week, and for those that haven't started collecting them, you can collect the second one right now. If you collect 4 of them over the week, you can get a Mind Flayer Hitch skin and the first epic feat for Celeste, the Empowered Mantle. It increases Crusader's Mantle by 80%, so that is a pretty good feat for her, because right now, if we look at her feats, bloop, there it is, Empowered Mantle, part of the Year 2 Anniversary Rewards. That's a pretty good one. I could get healing ability up. Lots of different options. I really like the feat system. I don't know whether everyone in chat feels the same way, but I really like the little tweaks to the characters that I could do. I know last night I was pushing my wall, and characters that I normally have their self-damage on, if it's like self-damage plus 30%, when I was looking at their DPS breakdown, they were doing 0% of DPS, so I was able to switch them to a little bit more global support, which gave my my main damage dealer just enough of a power boost to get him over the edge, so that was pretty cool. Look at that little flump. Look at it. It's farting all over the place. Oh, so good. Let's see. Where else were we? I lost my train of thought. No more questions. So we've got the anniversary celebration. We've got the patron system. And for those newer players that are looking at the patron system and going, oh my gosh, I can't give up time gate pieces or my silver chests or whatever. If you're at the point where those resources are tight and you need to use them for other things, that means the patron system is probably not for you yet. This is a late game system for veteran players. That if you want to unlock and check out and play around with, you totally can. You can do free plays to gain 2 of the patron currency per area. But the adventures are tough. The adventures are tough for me. Getting to area 275, even on some of these earlier adventures, like with the chickens that take up 4 slots. Don't start with that one. That one's a tough one. But it's a lot of fun. It adds a new level of strategy to the game. It adds a lot of interesting formations. I've been having a lot of fun running through some Vajra runs. And yeah, so the patron system's out. That's a lot of fun. We got the anniversary celebration. We've got some new DLC, which unfortunately I can't show you because I have all the DLC. But new familiars, new skins, a new Founders Pack. If you bought Founders Pack 1 and you liked it and you had a great time with it with the gem boost and all the chests, especially now with feats, you can get the Founders Pack 2. Previously, you can only get 1 Founders Pack because it's a one-time purchase, but now with Founders Pack 2, you can get that awesome discount. It's 42 chests for $19.99, plus a skin, plus a familiar, plus a ton of other unique item like epic potions and epic blacksmithing contracts. Plus, for a week, you get the increased gem drop bosses, the increased gem drop buff. So boss bags are going to be dropping 50% more gems. So not bad if you're trying to get your first familiar. I definitely recommend the Founders Pack. It's a lot of fun. Plus, it's got a cool skin, and it's got the Crowy familiar, which is fun for the Easter egg. For those of you that weren't here earlier, in the Founders Pack, you can get Crowy, and it's an Easter egg. If you put Crowy onto Binwin and you click them 3 times, Criddler, Criddler, Criddler. Oh, I gotta do it fast in a row. Criddler, Criddler, Criddler. Oh, come on, dude. Oh no, it's not working. I broke Crowy. Criddler, Criddler, Criddler. No. Oh, Mark, we got a problem with Crowy. There he is. You know why? Because I'm going too fast. I needed to go even faster with my pressing. So if you click Crowy 3 times when he's on Binwin, he will turn into the Criddler, which is always fun. And we're going to do more of those Easter eggy things like that. That was a lot of fun, and we should do more stuff like that. Oh no, my crew's getting destroyed. Click damage, deacon damage. Let's see. So it's 2:46. Everyone is at PAX West this weekend. PAX West starts tomorrow. This looks really laggy because I don't have this up on the screen. Come by the booth. We're, Erica, can you remind me where we are at PAX West? Let's see. Oh, we just had a late question from Giant Dwarf. Can Naeli get her taunt back with a feat? That's a really great question because I missed that taunt and I want it back. So I might lobby for that. I like the idea that feats can make enough of a change to a character to put them into a new formation or to really change the feel of how or why you want to use that character. So that's really where I think feats are going to shine. So I'm excited to get some more feats out there. Apparently, we are at booth 7301 at PAX. That is booth 7301. I believe we're right next to the Indie Dev Showcase. But either way, giant gelatinous cube. Like 7.5 feet tall, giant gelatinous cube. And when you come for a signing, you get to go through the gelatinous cube. Sorry. Dad jokes for the win. Let's see. I'm saying a lot. I'm not used to streaming. I apologize. So PAX West signing schedule. Let's not forget. Every day we're going to have signings at the booth. Every day we're going to have awesome character drawing by our amazing artists at the booth. Every day we're going to have part of our team at the booth. Come by, say hi. Tell us what your favorite variant is. Tell us what you love about the game. Tell us what you don't love about the game. Conventions are a great way to meet the fans face to face and really learn what we're not learning through the internet from you guys. We want to hear about what you're loving. What strategies do you use? What formations do you use? Come by, give us a chat, and don't forget to check out the AFK rooms at PAX. We're sponsoring them thanks to the generosity of our fans. We raised over $12,000 to sponsor AFK rooms at PAX this year. And we're super proud of them, and I can't rate the AFK room highly enough. So to that point about patron adventures being tough, granted, I'm completely missing a champion, but I'm grinding up on 227 right now. There we go. And I think I'll get to 275. Yeah, I should be able to get to 275 given how I'm looking here. But those patron variants are tough. Grind some free plays, get some currency. Look to those local perks. Use those local perks to help you push further in patron variants. Maybe don't waste all your influence on global buffs yet. Look at that. There we go. So Friday, we've got High Rollers, Aaron M. Evans, and Scott Kurtz at the booth. Saturday, we've got the C Team and Anna Prosser, Aaron M. Evans, and High Rollers again. And Sunday, we've got Aaron back again, Anna back again, Violet, Distracted Elf Miller, High Rollers, and Scott Kurtz on Sunday. So come by the booth, follow us on Twitter. You'll see the schedule up each day, and come visit us and check out the gelatinous cube. And for those looking for a preview of the gelatinous cube, just stay through the credits. So I think I'm going to cut off a little early tonight. I got some work to do. Surprise, surprise. But thank you so much, everyone, for coming to hang out with us. We will not be streaming next week, as everyone will have the PAX Plague. Will we be streaming next week? No, we will not be streaming next week, but I will be available for the Q&A on Tuesday. So we're going to do the Q&A next week, no streaming next week, and Dylan will be back with the regular schedule in 2 weeks. So thanks, everybody, for hanging out. It's been an amazing time getting to chat with you, and I hope everyone's enjoying the anniversary celebration and the patron system. Cheers, all.